And folks, welcome back to Fowl Players Radio. My name is Michael Spedden. This week, the lovely and talented Suzanne Chadwick returns to tell us all about the Havre Jazz and Blues Fest for 2022 on June 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Lots of great acts to be seen, as well as vendors and other activities. We also discussed her upcoming performance in Carmen with the Washington National Opera at the Kennedy Center, and Citizens Against Trash, an organization her husband, Al Peteraf, is actively involved in. The website for the Jazz and Blues Fest is www.hdgjazzbluesfest.org. You can get information on Carmen coming to the Kennedy Center at www.kennedy-center.org. The Fowl Players of Perryville are now booking shows for 2022. We have some shows coming up in Maryland Party Boat and Western Maryland Scenic Railroad. Our next one on the Maryland Party Boat will be Mother's Day on May 8th, and we are going to be on Western Maryland Scenic Railroad May 14th. So go to www.fowlplayersofperryville.com for more information on those shows and links to get tickets. You can get more information too at 443-600-0446. Subscribe for free at www.fowlplayersradio.com or listen wherever you find podcasts online. No matter what platform you listen on, you can help us greatly by giving us a fair review and a 5-star rating. Also, be sure to visit our page on patreon.com. www.patreon.com/fowlplayersradio. And we also have selected episodes now on YouTube. If you want to see me and my face for radio on YouTube, go there. Just look at Fowl Players Radio once you get there, and you'll see about 9 or 10 episodes that we have. So stick around. We'll have Suzanne Chadwick right after these words. Live music is back at the Havre Jazz and Blues Fest, June 3rd through 5th, featuring Shamika Copeland, Gunhild Carling, Raoul Medon, Felix Pastorius, and others. Free live outdoor shows too, in beer gardens, shops, vendors, restaurants, and more. What are you waiting for? Buy your tickets now. And folks, welcome back to Fowl Players Radio. And today we have Suzanne Chadwick joining us again, the chairman of the Havre Jazz and Blues Fest. So welcome back, Suzanne. We're excited to hear about what's going on this year.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
To have part of it too.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I'm always honored to be part of it. I really enjoyed it last year, and it's a great festival. It really is a great festival. And, like I said, let's get the word out, because I think everybody should come join in this good time. What do you think?
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad that live music is back.
Absolutely.
Last year we punted very quickly and had like three and a half months to put the festival on in a shortened 2-day version, but we've returned to the 3-day version that we had in the inaugural year in 2019.
Okay. So 3 days of music instead of 2. And it's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I believe, right?
It is chock full Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
June 3rd, 4th, and 5th, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess kind of give us a breakdown of the acts that are going to be appearing. Bursting at the seams with talent. So many great acts, from local areas as well as across the country and other places and around the world.
Right. I've just been waiting patiently. I'm like, okay, Mike, let me go because I'm going to run because I'm so
run
excited.
with it. Run with it.
Definitely. I curate all the time for Havre de Grace's Cultural Center at the Opera House, but also for the Havre de Grace Jazz and Blues Fest. And so sometimes it's, people I've seen perform somewhere, I'm watching on Facebook or see them on TV. And sometimes it's from personal recommendations. Mm-hmm. And so we're so chock full, I don't even know where to begin. We have multiple venues. Mm-hmm. We have the Wilburn Company Headliners Stage, which is at 700 Congress Avenue. This has been known as the Havre de Grace High School Auditorium because they have a new high school. and the city has purchased this facility. We now have a 950 plus seat auditorium, which is
very
where
nice.
we started the first year for our headliners. And I'll get into the specifics later, but that is now called the Star Center. So we have this headliner stage, Star Center. We have the Cultural Center at the Opera House, which last year we considered too intimate a space during that time of COVID. But we're feeling a little more relaxed. So we actually open our first headliner actually at the Cultural Center at the Opera House. And Carolyn and Peter Zinner have been wonderful enough to sponsor that stage. We also have the Integrity Real Estate Key Title local stage on Pennington. And that is another outdoor, we had 2 outdoor stages last year. And this year we have 1 outdoor stage. And that's on Pennington between Washington and St. John Street. And it's such a large tent that people audience can be underneath, not just the band. Mm-hmm. And then the State Theater of Havre de Grace is also participating. So we have 4 venues chock full of artists all weekend long. So we start off at the free stage for a 2.5-hour show Friday during First Friday. Now, City of Havre de Grace has these wonderful First Friday events, and that will be June 3rd. So we have Joe Keys and the Late Bloomers, a 10-piece jazz, crossover, fusion, all kinds of stuff. They're influenced by a lot of different acts. As a matter of fact, I haven't given myself notes today because they were influenced by Miles Davis, Gil Scott-Heron, Sun Ra, and early Parliament Funkadelic.
Oh,
so, yeah, right. Oh my gosh, it's just a wonderful 10-piece that will play the local stage, the Integrity Real Estate Key Title local stage on Pennington. Friday they'll start at 6. Then at 8 o'clock we have 2 shows at 2 different venues. We have Raoul Midon, which I consider my opening headliner. Raoul Midon, how do I sound not indelicate, but he is blind and plays guitar, bongos, sometimes at the same time sings, and keyboard. And he has this wonderful way about using his vocals that reminds me of Bobby McFerrin.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Right? And
I remember Bobby McFerrin. Yeah, he's something else.
I scouted him too, but he was real expensive. But anyway, so Raoul Midon has been around for a little while. He has collaborated or performed with Herbie Hancock, Sting, Terrence Blanchard, who wrote all the Spike Lee film soundtracks, Bill Withers, Diane Reeves, Shakira, and Raoul has even composed the end credit song for Spike Lee's She Hate Me. He's received 2 Grammy nominations. I like the albums. It was Badass and Blind and If You Really Want in the Best Jazz Vocal category. So he's opening at the Cultural Center at the Opera House, the Carolyn and Pete Zinner main stage. And that's Friday night, at 8. And he will be introduced by Todd Barkin. Now, Todd Barkin, he opened Keystone Corner in Baltimore in 2019, about 2 months before we had our inaugural festival. But for 20 years, he had a Keystone Corner in San Francisco. He is an NEA Jazz Master. That's a Lifetime Achievement Award for all the things he's done for music, in particular jazz. He's produced 20 albums and 200 albums, not all jazz. He has story after story after story. You know, he has hosted all the biggest names that you can imagine. And he's going to be at the Cultural Center at the Opera House for our VIP reception, and he's going to introduce the opening act, Raoul Midon. Also, at the State Theater, while we're having jazz, the State Theater is going to have the Kelly Bell Band. And
Oh,
a lot of
sure.
people love the Kelly Bell Band. So they're going to be there. And so that's just Friday night. Then Saturday, we get rip roaring. Saturday, Washington Street will be closed for 2 blocks because we'll have lots of vendors.
Mm-hmm.
And that intersects with Pennington. We'll have a beer and wine garden. I believe there's a few restaurants having kind of, along with a beer and wine garden, an outdoor food court kind of thing. All kinds of vendors that will be all in earshot of acts on the Pennington Street stage. I won't even go into all the long names, but Integrity Real Estate Key Title local stage on Pennington. And so we start off at 11 a.m. At 11 a.m., we have the Billy Pierce Band. And Billy Pierce has played for decades with Johnny Neal, who played with the Allman Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
So Billy Pierce is local to Delaware, and Johnny Neal came from Delaware. He lives in Nashville, so he has a local band when he's up here, and he has a local band in Nashville when he plays there. So Billy Pierce is going to be gracing us with fun blues and a bit of Cajun feel at 11 a.m. at the local stage. And then at noon, at the Carolyn and Peter Zinner main stage Cultural Center at the Opera House, just about a block away, Felix Pastorius and the Hipster Assassins will host a workshop. Now that's for people that want to work with Felix or anyone in the band. Some people may know the name Pastorius because of his dad, Jaco Pastorius, legendary bass player. Felix is every bit as much and more than his dad. So he has his own level of artistry. The fingers are this long. He's that the nicest person and amazing on bass. So everyone in his band, bass, guitar, saxophone, and I think drums, I can't remember who the 4th personnel is. It's got to be drums, will be available for this workshop. So they're very inexpensive. I think it's $10. Yeah, I mean, it's very, very inexpensive for the workshop, where you can observe what it's like when somebody wants to work with any of these, including Felix. And then at 2:00, they will have their own show, Felix Pastorius and the Hipster Assassins. They're coming out of New York. And that's at 12 and 2. At 1:00, we have the Roberto Vieda group back on the Pennington stage, the local free stage. And Roberto is the only person, the only group that's getting to play from last year. And this is Latin jazz, both traditional and original, wonderful, mind-blowing Roberto Vieda group. And then I'm using my cheat sheet just to make sure I don't forget anybody. The State Theater at 1:00 is also hosting Jazz and Blues Brunch with Kevin Howard. And if you go to the website, hdgjazzbluesfest.org, you can get all the information, ticketing information if they're ticketed events. At 4:00, we are bringing a couple of teen phenoms in blues and blues rock, Oliver Unger Band featuring Morgan Gauntz. So Oliver's a bass player, and I've asked Oliver to also be in that workshop because he's fierce. He's 17. He's a high school senior. And Morgan plays guitar and sings. I want to say she's 16. And so we're excited to bring some young blood to the Jazz and Blues Fest this year. And speaking of young blood, at let me see, they're at 4:00, and at 5:30, again at the Cultural Center at the Opera House, we have Maryland Rising Stars show. And we've had the Maryland Rising Stars show each year featuring different acts. We're going to start with Eben and Ephraim Dorsey, also teenagers, phenoms. And just this morning, I watched an interview on Channel 11 with Eben Dorsey. she just got to be part of Herbie Hancock's all-star band this week in DC. So she got to meet and play with Herbie Hancock. She is a senior at the Baltimore School for the Arts, and her brother is finishing up his freshman year at Peabody. And they're both saxophonists and play together. So I've seen them at Keystone Corner, which is, I got to say, a New York or international level jazz nightclub in Baltimore, and brings in legendary artists. And we're so lucky to have him right here, just 30 miles from Havre de Grace. So we're going to start off with Eben and E from Dorsey. And then the second half of that Maryland Rising Stars show is Hot Club of Baltimore. And Hot Club of Baltimore is so much fun. Django Reinhardt influenced with singer Alexis Tantau. And last fall, they opened for the National Symphony at Echo Stage. Who knew the National Symphony was playing Echo Stage? But in DC. So I just totally adore them. And then, so that is at the Cultural Center at the Opera House. And then we go to the State Theater, which is at 7:00. They're hosting Saxel Rose and Noah Pierre. Now, Saxel Rose, also known as Antonio Hancock, grew up in Havre de Grace. And is, I would consider, a smooth jazz saxophonist, and has been playing across the world. He is often featured with a British metal band called Neck Deep, and played Wimbledon in 2019. Most recently, he's been recording with Wiz Khalifa out in LA, and he plays and tours with a lot of major names. And then I introduced him in the first year. He was one of our Maryland Rising Stars. Another one was Noah Pierre, and they hit it off. And so they are playing together and putting a band together. So they're calling it a classic R&B tribute. And knowing Saxel Rose's smooth jazz sound, it's kind of a spin on that. So that's at the State Theater. Then the biggest headliner I consider for the entire festival, not to slight any other of the artists, but is blues royalty Shamika Copeland. And Shamika Copeland yesterday played at International Jazz Day at the UN in New York.
Oh, okay.
That was a huge deal. Herbie Hancock was there as the host and artistic director. Shamika played, Gregory Porter, huge name in jazz. Joe Alexander, who's somebody else I'm trying to scout. He's I think 17 or 18-year-old jazz pianist phenom, has moved to the area. Lynn Carrington and John Coltrane. Oh my God, John Coltrane played. Anyway, that was yesterday. So Shamika's dad was a major name in the blues, and she came up in that family. And then she began to tour when she was 18 or 19. She's been nominated for numerous Grammys. She's won many blues music awards. And I've seen her in person, and she is sensational. She has so much life in her, and her songwriting is fantastic. It's entertainment on whatever level. If you are a bit highbrow blues, you'll love her. If you're just more casual, love entertainment, you'll love her. So Shamika's wonderful, and she's the hardest working girl in the blues, although there are several. It's amazing, but she just works so hard. And when we had planned to have her in 2020, she was going to play the Chicago Blues Festival on Friday and ours on Saturday. So we're actually right. So big deal. And so we're actually making good on that 2020 contract this year. Then if you want to stay up late and really enjoy the full everything, the State Theater is going to close Saturday night with Renee Ibanez and the Cubano Groove. I stayed for half the show last year after Vanessa Collier, and it was unbelievable energy. Renee Ibanez used to play with the Miami Sound Machine.
Oh, yeah.
and percussionist, high energy. They have 2 to 3 percussionists on that stage. And I remember being so tired at the end, and yet they had so much energy, and it's Latin jazz. It's fabulous. But there was a conga line, and I ended up escaping last year during the conga line, and they kept going. They are it's just a big party. And so they're starting at the State Theater at 11 p.m. So no matter what your tastes, we have something for everybody. And then on Sunday, we have a good amount of shows on Sunday. We go back to the Pennington stage at 11 a.m. and we're bringing in the Bratcher Project, which is jazz, R&B influenced, someone that's in the Maryland area. So that's our local stage. And I met him during last year's festival, and he came up to me and said, I'd really like to interest you in my band. So fortunately, we could bring him in. And on Sunday, we no longer have Washington Street closed down with all our vendors, but we are hosting family activities on Pennington. There's going to be a moon bounce near the stage. We're going to have other family activities all up and down Pennington. And the Bratcher Project is followed later by the Baltimore Jazz Alliance Jazz for Kids. So they're going to be doing an interactive program where they're performing, but they're also maybe asking you to scat, showing you their instruments. So it's going to be a much more of an interactive show. I guess that's one way of putting it. And I'll get back to that a little bit, because the State Theater and before them, the State Theater is at 1 o'clock. They're having a jazz and blues brunch with Kevin Levi. And then at 1 o'clock, the Carolyn Peter Zinner stage at the Cultural Center at the Opera House is Piedmont Blues. Now that's more Piedmont blues, or if I think of it similar to Delta blues. Some people think about Delta blues and they know what that means. So it's more of an authentic folk blues. And that's a 2-person act coming out of New York as well. And that's at 1 o'clock. And then the Baltimore Jazz Alliance Jazz for Kids program is at 3 o'clock on the Pennington stage. And then the State Theater at 5 o'clock is having Swamp Dog, which is a blues group. I don't know anything about them at this point, so I can't really comment, but I'm sure that there'll be information on the website. But those that are interested in the family aspect, we're hoping then we'll explore Gunhild Carling. Gunhild Carling, I found because our city councilman, Jason Robertson, had tagged me on a video. And imagine World War II era blonde bombshell, who's a monster on trombone, trumpet, sings, tap dances. She used to be in the circus, and she's from Sweden and only came to the US a few years ago, I think 2018. So I saw her at Keystone Corner in December on a Wednesday, where she sold the place out. And it was just a pile of fun. We don't know who her personnel is going to be. I got to see her with her family because she grew up in a musical family. Everybody played musical instruments, multiple musical instruments. At one point, Gunhild had 3 trumpets at her mouth and played all of them. She had an upright string bass and the trumpet up and played it while playing the bass. They did a Mardi Gras style parade through the audience. Total entertainment, but a total badass on these instruments, as is everyone else in the band. So we're having special pricing so that it's only $25 for an adult and $10 if you bring your child. So we're hoping that families will come see that show because it's going to be a lot of fun. And all of this is brought to you by the Havre de Grace Arts Collective. And we are proudly collaborating with our event sponsor, Armstrong. And Armstrong is a cable company in Northern Hartford County and parts of Pennsylvania, across Lancaster and near Philadelphia.
Cecil too, yeah.
And Cecil too. And so we're extremely grateful. Not only has Armstrong, given us some money to help with all of this, but they're actually giving us their expertise. And so I can go to them and consult and what do you think about this? And they're helping us with the marketing. And it turns out the GM is, I don't know what instrument he plays, but he's one of these hired guns that plays with major national, international artists, I think in rock. And I don't know, again, if he's a bass player or what he is, but he gets these calls to so-and-so's out, we need you. And he's out on the road. So he is a real musician. Mike, you know about that. You're a real musician. And so
the opinions would vary on that, but
well, and so anyway, we're extremely grateful to Armstrong for their support and expertise and involvement. And they're more than supporting, they're involved.
Well, good.
So yeah, thank you for letting me explode on you, because when you curate all this stuff, you're really excited and you're really invested in it. So I'm definitely excited about this.
It sounds like there's just tremendous lineup of acts that you've put together for this year's festival. And I mean, again, being involved with it last year, and even in just, the one tent that I worked, bringing up the acts,
the headliners.
I mean, all the headliners. I mean, it was just, did not find one unenjoyable act. I mean, they were all just delightful and just, they all did things in their own way, different styles, but I got to tell you, it was just great. And I'm looking forward to being involved with it this year and really coming and hearing the music. Now, outside of the music, you did mention sponsors. And, even when I did your voiceover, there was,
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime.
A voice like yours, can't find a better one.
Well, thank you. There was, mention of vendors and restaurants, or do you have vendors and restaurants that are participating, and would you like to let people know who they are?
I don't know all of the vendors. I know McGregor's is doing the beer and wine garden.
Oh, nice.
So that I can let you know. And I just remembered their openers to Shamika Copeland and Gunhild Carling, and I forgot to mention them. You saw the Nighthawks last year. They played the headliner stage.
Yeah.
And they used to tour with Shamika's dad, John Copeland.
Right.
We paired them up. So the Nighthawks will open for Shamika Copeland Saturday night. And the Bel Air Community Jazz Band is going to open for Gunhild Carling.
Oh, very nice.
Another thing that we're doing that isn't open to the public in the first part, in the second part it is Sunday morning, Gunhild Carling is going to serve as a clinician for high school jazz bands workshop.
Oh, good.
That will include 3 different high school jazz bands, including Havre de Grace's, Aberdeens, and Edgewoods. And Gunhild is going to serve as a clinician to help them get better. And then that's at 10 in the morning. And then at noon, they will perform at the Star Center at 700 Congress. People are still getting used to that name because it's so new, but that is the Wilburn Company headliner stage at the Star Center at 700 Congress. And so APGFCU has sponsored the workshop, the high school jazz bands workshop and show. So we have the Wilburn Company, we have Integrity Real Estate, Key Title, APGFCU, and Carolyn and Peter Zinner. Visit Hartford has been on board supporting us. Armstrong, of course, our event sponsor. And I'm hoping that I haven't forgotten other sponsors. Guitar Restorations, I have to mention this. Guitar Restorations has donated yet another guitar. So there's a guitar raffle going on that will be selected during Shamika's show. And so you can find information about that also on our website. Tanner Industries, another supporter. And there's one logo I can't read because it's too small. I'm just trying to make sure I don't forget anybody. Trademark. I'm not going to be able to get it, but it will be on our Oh, and Pat Venturino, she takes photos of everything for us and donates her picture, donates, all the photos to the artists and to us. And of course, the city of Havre de Grace. The city of Havre de Grace does a lot of work behind the scenes in facilitating this
Mhm.
3-day event. So we are appreciative to everybody that's contributing. And there will be a lot of participating merchants downtown.
Mhm.
Joe Retro, Washington Street Books. I don't even have the complete list there, but they will have specials going on. I know Joe Retro has some kind of a album sale. I think she's doing vinyls, for $1 or something like that. So what else have I forgotten to mention?
I think
You're going to be there?
I think you pretty much covered it all. I mean, this is a lot going on in 3 days, and it sounds like a full weekend, definitely. And having gone last year, I definitely recommend that. If you're curious about it, come look. I mean, you're going to have a good time. You can't not have a good time at this.
Right.
And I mean,
Free
quality. What's that?
Free shows, inexpensive. We try to keep our ticket prices down. So if you were going to Baltimore or DC, you would definitely pay more for a ticket than you're paying at the Havre de Grace Jazz and Blues Fest. But Mike, drum roll, please.
Yes.
Will you be introducing any of our acts?
I will. I mean, just tell me who to introduce and I'll introduce them.
Oh, great. So you'll be at our headliner stage?
I'll be wherever you want me to be. I'm yours that weekend.
I love it. I love it. And you're gonna say the tagline?
I will. Live music is back. Absolutely.
Yes. The way you say
it. Absolutely. And you'll be hearing that quite a bit if you follow me around. I'll be wherever I'll be wherever our chairman here puts me. And you'll be able to hear that tagline wherever I go. So I'm happy to be involved. Yeah. The city itself is just wonderful. It's just such a nice place to go and to look around. I think really everybody does their share over there to keep it nice and keep it a really, just a wonderful place to, not only live close to, but to go over and enjoy. And festivals like this really help it as well. It really looks like everybody's on the same page as far as doing these things, so everybody has a good time over there, and they really keep the town nice, so it's possible to do so.
Right. We know who keeps it really nice, don't we?
Yes, we do.
City, the Citizens Against Trash Club.
Yes, as a matter of fact, that's something that I think you may know a little bit about that organization, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, the founder is my husband.
Yes.
And he and a few other guys started this, and I want to say there's 20 or 30 people that show up Saturday morning to clean Havre de Grace. It's exceptional. They also do events, and they bring out kids. I think they're going to be cleaning up. I'm trying to remember where they've cleaned up some of the small creeks nearby, and I think they're going to Robin Hood Road soon with the county, and they're bringing out middle school volunteer group. So they'll bring out school groups, and the kids love it. And he'd really like to have this in school programs across the state, actually. When you're introduced to the idea of this is your environment, this is where you live, this is where other people live, and oh, look, there's the Chesapeake Bay. And our waterways are so trashed up across this planet. And if you understand that every action has a reaction, it has a consequence. And so these kids, when kids are introduced to this idea of picking it up, one, they've got these buckets and these grabbers, so they're safe and clean, and they love it. Every time he takes a school group out, the excitement is unbelievable. The pictures of them picking up trash or posing afterwards, they're so happy, and there's this instant gratification, and they see that the place where they just walked looks better and it is healthier. our birds are healthier, our animals are healthier, the planet is healthier. So he'd really like to get this into the school systems across the country, or across at least the state of Maryland, but it'd be great if it were infectious and went viral. But that's why Havre de Grace looks so great, is that group.
A fine organization, and I really do notice a difference driving through over the last couple of years. It's just a really nice looking. It really has added to the town, I think, and just a fine effort that Al has put together, and
many others,
too. Yeah, many others. He has quite a crew of people over there working and helping with this, and again, it really has made a difference over there. It is really nice, and it really does kind of contribute to the overall just positive vibe over there as well. Being a nice clean place and a nice pleasant place to be. And it really is. I mean, the waterfront down there is just priceless as well. There are plenty of places where you can go and just sit and eat something, or walk around and just look out and see some very, very beautiful scenery and a lot of wildlife. And that's where we got our name, the Fowl Players, from all the waterfowl. Again, we're across the river from you there, or I guess they could say across the pond in a much smaller way.
Right.
Over in Perryville. But yeah, that's the Fowl Players of Perryville, and that's kind of where we got our name, from all the beautiful nature around here. But hats off to Al, continuing to do a great job for us here. I heard there was some other news that you may have as well.
Well, I just always keep busy, and I came to Maryland first originally to go to school at Peabody. And so I'm an opera singer, and we are back to work, and I'm very excited about that. So I've rejoined Washington National Opera. We had a concert in the fall, and then I joined them for Così fan tutte in last month. And then in May, we're performing Carmen. So right now we're staging and having a blast, because it's been a long time. It's been 2 years.
Yep. And are you you're part of the cast, I'm guessing, correct?
Yes, I'm in the ensemble. Actually, in the first scene, I am the factory head. So I'm having a lot of fun, because she's a Nurse Ratched kind of character. Getting those women back in the factory. So yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And if anybody's curious about opera at all, Carmen's always the first recommendation. The tunes, probably 5 tunes from Carmen. It's a Fatal Attraction story, but it's real, and it's relevant to this day, right? So it's well written, and there's a lot of action. It's not a stand and sing kind of show. It's physical, and we've got a lot of dancers. A lot of these dancers came in from New York. I talked to one who's in from Florida, one's from Texas. So this is the big time, and it's at the Kennedy Center in DC. Wow,
the Kennedy Center. That must be quite an honor to perform on a stage like that, huh?
Yeah. I'm very happy, and worked hard to get there, but it's a wonderful place.
Well deserved to have the opportunity. You're well deserving of an opportunity like that, I will say too.
Opportunity.
Opportunity, or if it was down south, the opportunity, right?
Opportunity. Yep. It was great being there during the cherry festivals, Cherry Blossom Festival, and it's really cool, because on the way I'm looking at the Jefferson Memorial, the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Monument, and then I get to the office, what I call the office, the Kennedy Center. And when you think who's walked through the halls of that place, or who's performed on those stages, it's kind of exciting to be there. And sometimes at the same time. So we'll be in one theater and we'll hear about so-and-so's in another theater, someone who gets a little more attention than we do. But
yeah. Well, great. That's great to hear. So is there a website or somewhere where have tickets gone on sale for Carmen yet?
For Carmen, yes. If you go to the Kennedy Center website, just put in Kennedy Center. I don't know, kennedycenter.org. But Carmen's playing May 14th through the 28th, I think it is. And then, so I'll finish up the 28th, I think it is. And then, and then June 3rd, 4th, and 5th, have another hat on.
Well, we go from one tech week or one crunch week to another, huh?
Yeah, there's a lot of shows
Yep.
for Carmen. They're using a few young artists so that they can have back-to-back shows because it's too big a sing. When you, Isabel Leonard is tremendous, and she's singing Carmen. She looks fabulous. Her acting's great. Her singing's gorgeous, but she couldn't sing that role Saturday and Sunday because it's just too big a sing. Physically, it'd be like a baseball pitcher, starting 2 days in a row.
Oh boy, yeah.
So they have a young artist doing Carmen in a few shows. So, and then some other young artists doing some of the other roles. And then there are 2 performances specifically for the K. Fritz Young Artists of Washington National Opera, and they are sensational.
It sounds like it. It sounds like it. Well, I'm very happy for you in this endeavor and everything, and I hope you have a really successful run and everything. Would you like to give us the final plugs here for the festival, for the Jazz and Blues Fest, the website, and where we can find out everything we want to know?
Yes, so you can check out the website, hdgjazzbluesfest.org. You'll find us on Facebook, Instagram. It's the Havre de Grace Jazz and Blues Fest, June 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And I think WTMD is going to be running a ticket giveaway. WXPN out of Philadelphia is going to have a ticket giveaway. There's a guitar raffle. Don't forget about the guitar raffle in case someone wants to possibly win a pretty sweet guitar that I can't remember the particulars on right now. But you'll see all that on the website.
Well, wonderful, wonderful. Well, Suzanne, it's always a pleasure to have you. It's always a pleasure to speak with you on the show. And I think I've probably had you on about 3 or 4 times now, just to promote this and to catch up with you and everything. And it's always a pleasure. Always great to see not only your own performances, but the great things that you're doing over in the community in Havre de Grace, and you as well as the rest of the folks that are involved in the arts over there. So thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for coming on again. And folks, thank you all for listening. This has been Suzanne Chadwick today with the Havre de Grace Jazz and Blues Fest on Fowl Players Radio. So thanks again, Suzanne. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Mike, for all the support in so many different ways.
Absolutely. And we'll see you all next time. Hopefully we'll see you at the festival, June 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And we will see you next time on Fowl Players Radio. Thank you for listening.
Bye.